YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This morning, many of the president's supporters furious, calling this picture that Trump posted appearing to depict himself as Jesus blasphemy. Trump took the picture down, but is defending the post, claiming he thought it showed him as a doctor.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Most of you have probably heard by now that Donald Trump has posted an image of himself depicting Jesus Christ. And again, this is not the first time we've seen Donald Trump mock Jesus Christ right to our faces. But of course, the majority of MAGA Christians, or as I like to call them, lukewarm, completely under mind control Christians, will defend Donald Trump and even allow this type of behavior from Donald Trump. But this, again, is more Antichrist symbolism right in front of our faces. And again, if you don't believe that the news is a simulation, that entire story ended with Donald Trump pretending that he didn't know that that image depicted him as Christ. No, of course not. Now, we know the imagery they give us of Jesus Christ is obviously not truthful imagery, but the most common photo you will see from the Catholic Church or any other church depicting Jesus Christ, of course, is him wearing a white outfit with a red cloak over it. Anybody with a brain can see that. And of course, Donald Trump deflected off of it and then immediately put out some more fake news, pretending that DoorDash showed up at the White House front door, and the sheeple online, of course, bought it hook, line, and sinker, not even thinking for a second that it would be some type of staged event for the American corporation, which continues to promote DoorDash and all these other delivery methods because, of course, they want you to stay home. They don't want you outside. They don't want you doing anything physically. They want you stuck inside online 24/7. This is part, of course, of the technocrat that they are building out. But Donald Trump pretended that the DoorDash grandma showed up at his front door. It couldn't be faker. But if you look at the image, I mean, they might as well have the four horsemen of the apocalypse flying in the sky behind him. Maybe that is what it's a depiction of, pretending to be military men. It looks to me a little bit like it is the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And of course, some Christians out there rejected this and said, hell no, Donald Trump isn't Jesus Christ. But the reality of the matter is the majority of Christians who actually vote, who stay stuck in the left-right paradigm, are in denial because they actually worship Donald Trump. And they show this on a day-in, day-out basis, right? We saw during the sham trials, which again was part of the buildup to make Trump a martyr and a victim, that he was being taken to court by Democrats, by Biden, right, when he didn't do anything wrong, supposedly, and everyone said this is an attack on Christianity. They depicted him in the New York Times, many other outlets. Oh, put these images out there of Donald Trump sitting side by side with Jesus in court. We've obviously seen this golden statue, which might as well be the golden calf that's been rolled out, where Christians are posing, or Republicans who are supposed to be Christians are posing in front of it. Now, this isn't idol worship. Of course, during the fakest assassination attempt, the fakest event we've ever seen in modern history, we had shills like Benny Johnson, you know it's true, of course, depicting the finger of God blocking the bullet from hitting Donald Trump. And of course, that whole story about how he just moved his head. If he hadn't just a fraction of an inch, he would have been dead. And of course, the bogus story of the boy or the kid who supposedly outsmarted Secret Service, got on a rooftop and shot a bullet. And it was, of course, some plot of the deep state. But if anybody actually understood the deep state and the weaponry that they have, you would realize that they have DARPA bullets that can curve. They are smart bullets that can go around trees. If they wanted him dead, he would be dead. But this is all part of the psychosis. And the psychosis is working. So while Christians are pushing back against that image that Donald Trump posted, this is what we've seen over the last couple of years because of the psychosis, which I'll show you right now, that they've built up. Thank you, Lord Jesus, President Trump. Thank you for President Trump, Lord Jesus, right? Yeah, that's not idol worship. Jesus, my Savior. Trump is my president. Of course, this is them trying to convince themselves that they're not idol worshiping, that they're not putting Trump on a pedestal comparable to Jesus, but in reality, that's exactly what it is. But this is his way of deflecting, right? They're going, no, I don't worship him. I'm only wearing his shirt. I only have his gold sneakers on, but I'm not worshiping him. Jesus is my savior. Trump's my president. See, I have it on a flag that I'm carrying around like a real absolute sheeple, because that's what I am, right? Then, of course, we had all the stuff with the ear, right? The ear that supposedly got nipped. And then how it was a wound, Trump's ear wound, and it miraculously healed. He had no bandage on days later when he showed up at Turning Point USA, right? Sounds a lot like the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. And of course, it was all about that fake assassination attempt that has built up this mind control in the minds of Christians and conservatives that the Republican Party is somehow associated with Jesus Christ and Christianity. They have this complete warped mindset where they actually think that the Bible mentions the United States of America, that the United States of America is God's country. This is all propaganda from the government, of course, and they somehow believe it. Yet they go to church every Sunday and don't pay attention to anything in Scripture, because the only time really America is mentioned when they talk about Mystery Babylon. Well, that's at least my opinion on it, but many have their own. But America is not mentioned by name directly, but these people are under mind control. And as 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11 through 12 says, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And who is more unrighteous in this world than this character being played by Donald Trump? In fact, they want to rub this in your face so bad that after he was supposedly shot in the ear, Donald Trump got up before he pumped his fist in the air, which I said at the time, again, was the mind control image that they needed to ingrain in people's minds. They even decided to put the paint on his mouth to depict a snake's tongue, a serpent, right? And all these videos are available on the website. You just type in assassination. There are dozens of videos on the Trump fake assassination attempts broken down, including the photographer who conveniently has taken other famous false images, who was put there, staged, who was directed by the CIA to get that image that we now see idolized and worshipped by MAGA, by Christian conservatives. And of course, even if you type in assassination, you'll get all my videos on Charlie Kirk, which have been scrubbed off of the internet. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 24 tells us, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And if you actually think about symbolism of the Antichrist, there's a lot to look at with Donald Trump. Now, I'm not saying that he is the Antichrist or one of many Antichrists, but the symbolism is there, right? Look at this checklist. Is he the lawless one? Lots of signs there. Is he the boaster, speaking of his own greatness? Is he the arrogant one? Is he a pathological liar? Is he the builder of towers? Does he routinely break treaties? Does he demand worship constantly? Is he deceitful and attempts to lure the church into following him? Of course, these are all signs, right? Is he the man of sin? Did he brag to be the chosen one? Does he show no compassion and no empathy? Is he the son of perdition? Is he the destroyer? Does he constantly try to make himself look great? Well, those are all checks in the box for anybody who has common sense, and most people are in denial if they don't agree with that. But the mind control is deep. Trump supporters see his narrow escape from death as God's work. So when they see this image that Trump puts up, of course they're going to naturally reject and say, well, I don't like that. But they're still going to defend Trump. They're going to believe his lies, because any deceiver, all they're going to do is lie. And these people have to make a decision. Well, is this guy really who he claims to be? Well, it's better than the other party. That's what we constantly hear, right? Oh, he made a mistake, right? They constantly are showing you this stuff over and over. They're constantly giving you the finger right to your face. But it's up to people to decide whether or not they want to be deceived anymore, or if they want to go along with it and get led astray. And that's what we're seeing with Christianity right now. Now, the most basic form of mind control is repetition. I want to show you how we got to this point. Keep in mind, when you're watching television, okay, your brain goes into different ways. You have gamma waves, beta. This isn't just television in life. You have gamma waves, beta waves, alpha waves, theta waves, and delta waves. And when you're watching TV, you go in between those bottom brain waves, alpha, theta, and delta. Okay, so you're in a trance so much. It's like hypnotism. It's like when you see these videos of people who are under hypnosis. They put you into a trance. That's what the television does, because it brings your brain waves down to a different level, and then you're able to be programmed. Now, I'm going to show you this quick clip so we can all get on the same page. Everybody has seen the Sinclair Broadcasting clip Everybody talks about it now. We even see these shows like Joe Rogan bringing it up and like, oh my goodness, the news is scripted. Oh, they're all reading off the same script, yet they can't figure out the news itself is a simulation and fake, that they fabricate these stories to blur your viewpoint on the world. But for anyone that hasn't seen this, you need to watch this first, and if you have, watch it again. This is obvious evidence that the news is scripted, that one person sends this to all the editors of all of these affiliate news stations, and they tell the people the same exact script. This is mind control. Repetition is the key. Listen.
Sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So you can see that and say, well, wait, what are you getting at? We know that the news is fake. Well, yeah, you know that because you've seen clips like that. And your brain is processing it now because it's not in a sleep state. It's not under, you're not in a state when you see the clips put together, you're actually able to grasp, wow, they're all saying the same exact thing, right? But in real time, you don't notice that. You're not watching the news in every other affiliate market across America. You're just watching the one in yours if you're watching it at all. And it takes people to put these things together to show you this is how mind control works. And they do it with everything, right? So all this stuff we've heard about Trump's triumphant return and divine intervention has all been programmed into you. It is mind control. Let's start here. Republicans embrace divine intervention for Trump's near miss into martyrdom. It's laughable, right? Because at the Republican National Convention, they stood on stage after this fake assassination attempt. Remember, they show you these things just like Charlie Kirk because it's almost impossible to pull people out of how fake it is because their brain is confused. It's being deceived because they think what they're seeing is an actual event happening right before their eyes. They think that they're there in attendance, right? Not realizing that they could stage that. Just like with Charlie Kirk, we saw no ambulances. He was carried out immediately, went over to Israel, of course, where he is now with a new identity. Now with his fake marriage to his wife, all this stuff, all scripted, all staged, but their brain is perceiving it as reality because they're seeing it through the television, the lie box, right? Look at what happened with Trump's assassination attempt. They all believed it to be true. They all felt all of a sudden that God intervened because the stories the media presented. But if you looked right in front of your faces, they were telling you who was presenting it, right? Republican National Convention, as they all spoke about Trump, as you'll see in a second here, all using the same talking points about divine intervention. Right behind them, you see the pyramid, right? I mean, how much more obvious can it be? Oh, is it there because Republicans love money? Donald Trump loves money. So we're gonna put the back of the dollar bill up there, right center stage with the pyramid, and of course, right underneath it where it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, which of course means new order of the ages, which is new world order, which is why Elon Musk even tweeted that out as Donald Trump and him were hanging side by side, and they were rubbing this in your faces, the whole dark MAGA thing. Again, all the things I've exposed on the website at callforuprising.com, which I recommend everybody join if you haven't, so you can go through my archive of thousands of videos, and you can make yourself awake and aware. But just like the Sinclair Broadcasting Group, I want you to look at this clip, okay? Look at how you were programmed, or everybody out there was programmed into divine intervention. And this is where all of this comes from now, where all of these Christians defend Trump because they were programmed into believing that he is on your side, that he is chosen by God, that it was a miracle, and they're falling for it. But when they see the Sinclair Broadcasting Group, they go, oh, it's fake news, the news is fake, right? But they don't realize they're being programmed just as easily as everybody else is. They're just too naive and too arrogant to actually believe it. Look.
The devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet, and he roared!
You don't get slight grazes to the ear. I mean, that is divine intervention, that he was not, mortally wounded.
Fate stepped in, God, the hand of God, call it whatever you like.
Evil came for the man we admire and love. I thank God that his hand was on President Trump.
The fact that this is about milliseconds and millimeters that changes this from being an attempt and an assassination should really talk about the divine intervention that has occurred here.
Trump is truly blessed by the hand of God being able to evade being assassinated.
And we thank him for protecting our next president, Donald J. Trump.
It was a clear assassination attempt. I think there was maybe some divine intervention.
If you didn't believe in miracles before Saturday, you better be believing right now.
It was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. So that was truly divine intervention as far as I'm concerned.
It's having everybody on the internet saying this is divine intervention. Every frame of the attempted assassination is nothing short of proof that it was divine intervention.
We mistaked on President Trump. God must have been watching down on the president.
I personally believe that God intervened today, not just on behalf of President Trump, but on behalf of our country.
I'll say that, in my opinion, probably the most famous NFL catch in history is called the Immaculate Reception. I call this the Immaculate Protection. I believe that there was divine intervention to make sure nothing happened to this man. It's extraordinary.
But let's just be real. Donald Trump is anointed by God. Whether you believe in God or not, he had a divine intervention that saved his life. And you can call me crazy, but I think that's the only thing that truly saved Donald Trump. And now he's going to have more support than he's ever had.
Willie, you're right. He's been posting on his Truth Social account. Here's his latest post. It came in just moments ago. Thank you to everyone for your thoughts and prayers yesterday. It was God alone, he said, who prevented the unthinkable from happening. We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness.
Well, when God shows up that clearly, it's hard for even the biggest detractors to deny it. They go, what did I just watch? You just watched God turn Donald Trump's head, literally. We all just watched it. I mean, think about God making his presence known. I mean, on the biggest possible story you ever could. Now you've got people going, okay, I believe it. Because how do you deny that?
So television, right? It comes in different shapes and forms. It doesn't just have to be sitting there on the 5 o'clock news. It's constant lies. It's constant repetition. It's constant mind control. And here is another clip that'll prove it. This is what we saw after the fake assassination attempt, after we were told it was divine intervention, how God spared Donald Trump. We started getting Christian propaganda. But Christians, country, are you with us? Christians, country, are you with us? Pretty much saying, look, if you're a Christian, you got to go comply. You need to consent to be governed. You need to go and vote for Donald Trump. Because again, they need your consent to be governed. And these sheeple actually think that their vote counts. That's how dumb and naive they are. Christians, are you with us, right? Christians, God, country. This is how it works. This is why you see so many people around you that you can't snap out of this Trump hysteria that they're in, this hypnosis. Take a look at this. This is one of the propaganda pieces that aired right after the fake assassination attempt.
Folks, it's time for another resurrection of Christian clout at the ballot box.
We tell Christians to get out and vote.
Calling all Christians this weekend.
Millions of believers across the nation will be casting their votes
for biblical values.
This is our moment to come together as the body of Christ.
And this is our opportunity to shape the future of our country.
And to stand firm in our beliefs.
I need you to make your voice heard.
Early voting is underway, so you know what you have to do.
I need you to get out and vote.
Rally your family, call your friends.
And let's come together in unity.
Voting isn't just a right, it's our power.
It's time to stand up and save your country.
Can we count on you?
Are you with us?
Are you with us?
Are you with us?
I need you to tell every believer to get out and vote for Donald J. Trump.
And then from there, right, as if that wasn't bad enough, with just popping up words. I mean, these are forms of mind control. We have jump cuts, all different types of MKUltra mechanisms being used on the public. Are you with us, country Christians? Are you with us, country Christians, right? Then we got Donald Trump's video declaring that God made Trump and that Trump was going to destroy the deep state. This was more programming to get these people to believe that Donald Trump was going to destroy the deep state. Yet in reality, these people who believe the government psyoped it as Epstein Island, which again is a psyop, does not mean that he's not a pedophile. If you look into eugenics and the things that I've broken down, again, videos are available on the website about Jeffrey Epstein. He's a pedophile. All of these people are pedophiles. That's what you need to understand. Democrats and Republicans, they work together. This is the illusion of the left-right. This is divide and conquer, how they keep us all divided. So I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein is not a pedophile. Of course he is. He's of the synagogue of Satan. They all are. But the fact that you're getting information and flight logs and lists, this is the government sending this stuff to you, and it's proving the mind control people are under, because all these people who are clamoring for arrests to be made, who's the most documented person on these lists of being around Donald Trump, being around Epstein? It's Donald Trump, right? But of course, that they ignore. They just want guys like Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey to be arrested, which shows you how deep the psychosis goes. And the government knows that, and they're laughing right in your faces. But again, here is God made Trump.
And on June 14th, 1946,
God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump. I need somebody with arms, strong enough to rustle the deep state, and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, have to wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God gave us Trump. I need somebody who can shape an axe, but wield a sword, who had the courage to step foot in North Korea, who can make money from the tar of the sand, turn liquid to gold, who understands the difference between tariffs and inflation, will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, but then put in another 72 hours. So God made Trump. God had to have somebody willing to go into the den of vipers, call out the fake news for their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is on their lips, and yet stop. So God made Trump. God said, I need somebody who will be strong and courageous, who will not be afraid or terrified of the wolves when they attack. A man who cares for the flock, a shepherd to mankind who won't ever leave nor forsake them. I need the most diligent worker to follow the path and remain strong in faith and know the belief of God and country. Somebody who's willing to drill, bring back manufacturing and American jobs, farm the lands, secure our borders, build our military, fight the system all day, and finish a hard week's work by attending church on Sunday. And then his oldest son turns and says, Dad, let's make America great again. Dad, let's build back a country to be the envy of the world again. So God made Trump.
So God made Trump, right? Anointed by God, the Christians who see Trump as their savior. This is the mind control out there. Then they've even used actors like Jim. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but let's just call him Jimbo, right? The guy, of course, from Passion of the Christ. How convenient that they choose him, because in mind control, most people see this actor and they think of the Passion of the Christ, because pretty much every Christian has probably come across the film Passion of the Christ. So they all love Jim, right? Oh yeah, Jim. And Jim pretends to be blacklisted by Hollywood because he depicted Jesus Christ. All these make-believe stories, right? And he comes out and what does he say? He says Trump is the new Moses. And these people will go, well, I mean, he, in their minds, even though they're not saying that Jim is Jesus Christ, they're saying, well, I mean, he's one of my favorite, he was in, he's a good Christian guy. He depicted Jesus Christ in the movie. So now we're getting mind control, comparing him to Donald Trump. Meanwhile, if you look up Jim, again, signs and symbols rule the world, you can see all the all-seeing eye symbolism from Jim, right? Yeah, what is he doing here? Is he doing Vogue? What, has he got something in his eye? His head, these are headshots that they take and put in magazines, okay? Deliberately with the all-seeing eye, hiding the eye behind a door or a post. Of course, Jim, just because he plays Jesus in a movie, is meeting with the Pope. Yeah, he's not some type of Jesuit puppet who is fully controlled, right? Of course, he is. Then we even saw comparisons of Trump and Alexander the Great, right? As Alexander saved the Jews, President Trump is the savior of Israel. Elon Musk, the prophecy has been fulfilled when Trump supposedly won the fake election, not the rigged election, the fake election, because it's fake. It's predetermined what characters they're going to put in, how they're going to do things. I call it the seesaw effect. I've called it that for years, doing all the stuff they did with Biden to make people beg for Trump. You know, stuff that Joe Biden on the record 20, 30 years ago was against, gay marriage. Then he's got trannies in the White House lawn, all the ridiculous stuff that made people go crazy, letting drag queens with who had criminal records of being pedophiles into schools, all done deliberately. All done to gaslight, all done to work you up into a frenzy. Then, of course, they give you Donald Trump, which was the plan all along. So everyone goes, oh, it's better than the other side, right? Because they drove you crazy for 4 years. But the prophecy has been fulfilled, according to Elon Musk. And then we look at the signs around us that Donald Trump has given us that show us that he's a deceiver, right? We can start with whatever your take is on, getting sworn into office. Obviously, it's not real. But Trump didn't place his hand in the Bible for the oath of office during his inauguration. Again, that doesn't mean anything to me, but it should mean something to the sheeple who are under mind control, who think that this is a God and country, right? Didn't even put his hand on the Bible, right?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
So he doesn't put his hand in the Bible. Then we just get all this imagery, which is just, it's so, I mean, it's just straight up mocking. It's so comical when you look at it. Anybody should be able to look at this and go, this is like depicted in a comedy. Like Donald Trump, putting his hands together, pretending to pray. So they go, he's a Christian. Look at him praying to God, thanking God, right? These photos that we've seen over and over and over again of all of these frauds, right? Standing by Trump, leaning over and praying with their hands on one another. It's sickening and it's embarrassing. And this is really what the church has become in America, because you see this all over, right? Oh, yes, they're all Christians because they're conservatives. They're all praying with Trump. As soon as this picture is done taken, all of them are cracking up laughing that Christians are actually buying this. In fact, Donald Trump told you right to your face many times, including the clip I'll show you right now, that he's not a Christian.
You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
Right, and he's not a Christian. How about all the symbolism with the Baphomet? Right? How about Donald Trump Jr. posting a picture of Donald Trump looking in the mirror, depicting a goat? Oh, right, he's the greatest of all time, right? Which I've broken down many times, how they have indoctrinated society with this goat mindset, greatest of all time, so that these celebrities could wear goat necklaces, they could have goat tattoos, and they don't realize it's the Baphomet. They're showing you who they worship, the Baphomet, right? The Satanic Temple, right? The Baphomet statue that they have, okay? They depict, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just under a false, it's falsely being thrown on you so that you think that that means the greatest of all time, so that you'll get a necklace and then you'll wear this stuff and you'll get it tattooed and you'll constantly worship the GOAT, right? Oh, yeah, but we're not worshiping though. No, they're calling their favorite athletes the best. Ooh, who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? Trump's the GOAT, right? Then, of course, Trump had a goat statue at Mar-a-Lago, right? In Trump, we trust on the $100 bill, on the GOAT that they decided to use, right? How about the Space Force? The biggest fraud we know, of course, is them claiming to go to space. We just covered this. I just covered this. Many people out there have covered this with the NASA hoaxes over the years. Many people just specifically cover that topic. Everybody should be awake to the fact that they cannot get to the moon, that they cannot get into space. But they believe it, right? And Christians fall for it, space, because they love it. They love the whole NASA thing. The people who were brainwashed into thinking it was real when they saw it in the 60s, they don't want to break free from that mind control because they saw it when they were a kid. It meant a lot to them. They got little NASA rocket ships and they dressed as astronauts. So they don't want to break free from the mind control. But people like me, look, there are things that I enjoyed. I broke free from the mind control. I said, I don't want to live in a deception or a lie. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. All these things they tell us are lies. Fake history, fake everything. Believe it with your own eyes, and if you don't see it with your own eyes, don't believe it. But Space Force, right? How obvious is this? Just like I showed recently with NASA, the symbolism, Blue Origin, right? Baphomet. Look at it. Look, flip the hat upside down to Space Force. Huh? What do you see? Oh my goodness, we see the Baphomet, right? Look at the rocket, which isn't. I mean, look at it with the horns coming out. I mean, how much more obvious can this stuff actually get? And then, of course, we had other things that should make people start thinking of Antichrist symbolism. Because remember, the Antichrist is trying to be as Christ, but he is a counterfeit. He is a counterfeiter who mimics Jesus Christ specifically. So, did you hear about this? I've covered this as well. Video on the website. Historic Ark replica that was in Jerusalem, right? It's in Jerusalem. It was in there. It was there a couple of years ago. Okay, this is the Ark of the Covenant, which, again, I've covered CIA documents from the past where the government has claimed that they've actually found the Ark of the Covenant, for anyone out there that's actually wondering, and that they at least spent years and years and years trying to find it. So it very well could be the real one. Who knows, right? I mean, unless you believe that it's like Indiana Jones and you touch the thing, you turn into, mush. Maybe so. I don't know. But how's this for an Antichrist, symbolism? The historic Ark replica, which was in Jerusalem. Where was it before Jerusalem? It was at Mar-a-Lago. Now, what in the world would it be doing there? You have all these shills, right? Look at these shills posing with the Ark of the Covenant. And, of course, the people online who claim to be Christian are like, that's so cool. The Ark of the Covenant, right? They can't even see the blatant mockery, the blatant symbolism in front of us. And it's with Donald Trump, it's so easy to see, right? We've seen him at the 6669, the tree of life, on his wall in his office, of course, bought and paid for by the synagogue of Satan themselves, doing the triangle power with his hands, just like Aleister Crowley doing it on magazine covers, right? That is the pyramid, of course, the triangle, the New World Order symbol, the 666 hand sign, right? Indoctrinating his audience with that so that when they went to these conventions, they'd all hold up the 666 hand sign without realizing it. The shills, this Hershey Highway fudge packer, right? Holding up the 666 hand sign. This guy who also took a blood baptism bath, by the way, which I broke down years ago. Don't hear his name much more because it was pretty easy to dispose of him, as most of us did a couple of years ago when we did show and cover these characters who were holding up the 666 hand sign, which also includes shills like Charlie Kirk or other ones who are still around, like Candace Owens, who everybody believes is now a patriot, or I shouldn't use the word patriot, but a hero for the conspiracy theorists and the truth movement. Of course, a couple years ago was in the White House interviewing Donald Trump. Okay, do you think anybody is getting near Donald Trump unless they're one of them? You think you're interviewing these people? And of course, was promoting the vaccine, as they all do. So again, the 666 hand sign, Trump symbol. And it shouldn't be, how obvious could it be? Again, with the, like I said earlier, with the tongue, right? When the fake assassination attempt occurred, Trump stood up. His blood was just like a serpent's tongue across his face. And of course, mockery to your face, the snake poem, where they tell you it's about immigrants and it's a metaphor. No, he's referencing himself.
On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Interesting. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up cozy in a curvature of silk and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from work, and that night, as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken and revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bit me. Heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? I mean,
And that's how easy it is to deceive, right? All Christians need to do is hear, even though he admits to, he's telling the snake story because he's like, he's the snake, right? The serpent, right? Who's the serpent? Oh, Satan's the serpent, right? And the pictures, again, of them posing in the White House, these actors, look at them. They're all, how bad they're holding in laughter. They can't wait for them to take the picture so they can all laugh and be like, I can't believe these suckers believe our simple propaganda, but it works. It's like the movie Leap of Faith, if you've never seen that with Steve Martin, right? But you've seen these Benny Hinn and probably some of these ministers who perform miracles, right? This staged where somebody comes up, oh my gosh, I've had arthritis in my legs my whole life. And he puts his hand in their forehead and throws them on the ground and then they could suddenly walk. If you believe in this stuff, then you are living in an alternate reality, right? So all the imagery of Trump with Jesus Christ, right? But what we know is he's the deceiver, the charismatic leader. Enough is enough. This has all been scripted out for what's happening right now. This is the Illuminati card game in the 90s. This is Donald Trump's face. Enough is enough. He's the charismatic leader, right? The book, 1900, or The Last President by Ingersoll Lockwood, where the plot was about a chaotic United States after a political outsider shocking election victory. What's Trump? Political outsider, shocking election victory. We're on to the second, and potentially they're hinting at he's never leaving office, right? Right? It's referenced today because modern readers often point out eerie parallels between the book and the 2016 election of Trump. Chaos in New York, political collapse, financial crisis, all pending. I mean, things might feel like they're fine now. They're manipulating the market as they always do. The economy, stock market's gone up almost every day this month. They're pumping it up in America, right? People are going, oh, everything's fine. Oh yeah, there's no oil coming in. So when all of a sudden the electricity goes out in some of these countries and then eventually America, oh, you wouldn't even realize it, right? Because they're still feeding you money if you're somebody who invests or your 401k, et cetera, right? But this is how the great magician works, right? The great magician. Remember Donald Trump brought in this clown on day one, right? He brought him in on day one, Dr. Oz. I broke Dr. Oz down many times in the past. Of course, he promoted the vaccine. He promoted flu shots and then told you that, he wouldn't give his kids the flu shot. And of course, he brought him in, and here he is side by side with Marina Abramovich. That's right, Marina Abramovich from Pizzagate, from Spirit Cooking. The videos where Marina is doing witchcraft, using children's blood, right? Well, here's Marina talking about how great it is for that Donald Trump is the president. Well, I thought she's a liberal witch. Well, she is. She is, but she's talking about how this plan is working. It is part of magic. Look.
I just to share with you one really funny opinion. But there is in Lapland, there is a group of the shamans there who do something called collective dreaming. They will go together in seclusion and do the rituals with, eating very little food and being in a solitude for a long time, and they will go and dream the dreams. And the dream have to be collective, same dream. So coming out of this dream, once the shaman told me that actually the best thing happened in this planet right now is the Trump to be the president. I said, how is this possible? It's the best thing to happen. He said, yes, because he's so irrational, he's so crazy. That's actually create that awakening, that we finally wake up. Because before it will be another guy and everything looks similar. But he's so different than anything else. So he's the magician who waking us up. What do you think about that?
Best thing happened ever to us. That he is the best thing happened ever to us. That he is the magician of the highest order. That he is there in his irrational mind to create confusion in order that the human being can find new order. And it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down.
So again, these people are under a massive spell. They're defending Donald Trump. Donald Trump could come out and pretend that he's Jesus, and these people go, well, I don't worship him. But you do. You're just in denial. And let's not forget on top of that, when Trump came into office, he talked about a golden age for America, right? What he really meant was the golden dawn. Okay, the Golden Dawn. All this stuff about the Roman Empire, why men just can't stop thinking about propaganda they put out there, Saturday Night Live skits, I covered this, all deliberate, okay? Recreation of the Roman Empire. Elon Musk, right? I think about the Roman Empire every day, right? It's mind control and how it works. The Golden Age that they're talking about is the Golden Age of Rome, which was the Pax Romana, a 200-year period of relative stability, economic prosperity, and territorial expansion. Now think about the expansion, right? Territorial expansion. What's Trump trying to do? Greenland, Canada, right? 10-kingdom plan of the Club of Rome, right? And that's what he's trying to do. And who was one of the emperors during the Pax Romana? Oh, Nero was. Remember Nero? If you don't know much about Nero, many believe that Nero was an Antichrist, right? That's pretty common. I mean, if you haven't heard that before, you should probably do some research on it. And of course, Matthew 24, chapter 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And that's what we're seeing right now. Trump posting a picture about himself as Jesus. All he's got to do is say, oh, I thought it was a doctor. Oh, we're supposed to believe he's that brain dead. The most common, again, depiction of Christ is with that red, the red cloak over his shoulder, wearing the white, right? And he had his face there. And he's healing the sick. And he even said, he's like, I heal the sick. He does? Oh, why? Because he's giving people Ozempic, which is really probably just another mRNA vaccine that people are shooting into themselves, thinking because they could buy it at CVS or the doctor can give it to them, however you get prescribed this nonsense. Hey, I'm losing weight. I didn't take the COVID vaccine, but I'll take this because I'm fat and I don't know how to diet and exercise. I'll just shoot this into my body and I won't wonder what's in this, right? What a nice little pivot, right? But Trump's healing the nation. He's healing the sick. Trump, all the signs you possibly could need to see to think at least that there's probably a connection to the Antichrist. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.